Hey, what's going on? Welcome back to the GM. Oh, you guys know what? I don't even have my headphones on. Let me grab these things. I am tripping. Let me get these things on. Ah, all right. Now we're in business. All right, man. So welcome, man, to the GM, man. I am your host, Boulanger, and you guys know what we always do here is we talk about the Ravens and any other relevant information. But right now, the Ravens are relevant in the context of free agency, in the context of being a Super Bowl contender, being in the context of moving towards the top of the NFL heap. And so let's just get into it, man. Whether you catch this in the live or you catch it in the record, man, whenever you catch it, you are appreciated. You are. Do me a favor, hit subscribe, hit the like button, and hopefully you'll jump into the comment section, even if you don't join a chat, and we can converse about the Baltimore Ravens. So before we get started, man, you guys know that we were supposed to jump off with the Thursday night football tonight. What we're going to do. Hey, what's going on, anti-narrative, man? How you doing this morning? Hope you're doing well for sure. And so what we're going to do, man, is we're going to postpone Thursday night football till next Thursday. That's going to be the jump off for that, because this news about Jaire Alexander joining the Baltimore Ravens is so profound to me that we're going to talk about this today, possibly tomorrow, and definitely Saturday. Not just the Alexander signing, but we're going to talk about what he could mean for the Ravens and this season. So my goal over the next couple of days is to abstain from a lot of Ravens content consumption so that our opinion stays objective until our Saturday morning conversation, man. So let's jump into this thing, man. So as of June 18th, the Baltimore Ravens did sign Jaire Alexander, who had been released by the Green Bay Packers on June 9th. Now, honestly, it's probably more of a miracle that he stayed on the street that long. A lot of teams were a little bit nervous about signing Alexander simply because of his injury history. I know that there was some teams lurking. I heard about the Cowboys lurking in the background. I heard about the Carolina Panthers being super interested. Nevertheless, man, Alexander chose to sign with the Baltimore Ravens uh, for 1 year up to $6 million. So, based on his talent and the potential for him to put that talent on full display, super bargain of a deal for sure. Cannot deny that. And so, why would he choose the Baltimore Ravens? I have not heard any commentary from Alexander. I have not heard a press conference or when one is scheduled. But just my opinion is that he joined the Baltimore Ravens for two primary reasons. One, the possibility to win a Super Bowl. I think the secondary or uh, sub reason is the relationship with Lamar Jackson and or the opportunity to play with Lamar Jackson. I think that's secondary. Winning always comes first, um, and then relationship for the most part. And so I think those two things are the primary reasons. But I definitely think Lamar Jackson had a hand in getting him here, recruiting him, convincing him to come on over. And I don't think it was really a hard sale, right? I don't think getting Alexander to Baltimore was a hard sale. Number one, why would he sign? Well, we are a contender, not just for the playoffs, but for a Super Bowl. And if you're in your late 20s and you have not won at a high clip, and you add on that you've had some injuries, you want to put yourself in the best position possible to win. And so I think because we are a contending team, I think that's what you would be willing to select. One of the second reasons I believe that Alexander would choose the Baltimore Ravens is culture. And no matter what we have heard over the past seasons about the medical stuff, the training staff, that kind of thing, the culture in Baltimore as it pertains to the players is top notch. They are connected, they ride for one another, they support one another, and you really don't ever hear anybody throwing blame on one person, no matter what the situation is. Just like you saw Lamar Jackson come to the defense of Mark Andrews once again, right? That's the kind of culture that the Baltimore Ravens have, and that's the kind of culture a player wants to be a part of. The number three reason that I think that he would sign with the Baltimore Ravens is because as he is entering his late 20s, I think he's 28, I think he'll be 29 during the season or shortly after. Uh, you want to kind of rehab your career and put yourself in position to get your last payday. I think whatever Alexander's next contract is, it's going to be his last big payday. So you want to win, and then if you're winning, you're being seen. If your team is winning, some credit will go to you for your contribution. And so that's how you increase the potential to get that last big payday. So man, those are the three reasons I think he came to Baltimore. And so man, winning, culture, opportunity to get paid once again. And so to be honest, I don't care why he came to Baltimore. I'm just glad he's here. Think about it, man. I'm just glad he's here. We haven't had a big name signing to our defense in free agency in a long time. When you revisit the history, if we go back to Marcus Peters, Marcus Peters was signed or brought in through a trade. When you look at whoever else we signed, like even when you think about it, Marcus Williams signed it, even though he got a huge bag of money, he was not a big name being signed. He did not have the star power. He did not have the Pro Bowls. He didn't have the acclaim as of a Jaire Alexander. Even when we signed the edge rusher from a couple of seasons ago, Clowney. Even when we signed Jadeveon Clowney, he had a big name because he was the number one overall pick, but he had not had the level of career or the accomplishment in his career that a Jaire Alexander has had. And so I think signing him is kind of the big free agent move that we've made probably in what I call the Lamar Jackson era. If you guys could think of anybody that we signed that was somewhat of a big name, by all means, drop that in the chat or drop that into the comment section. I think this is a all-in kind of move. I do. As I've said before, signing Alexander is the kind of move that you see at a trade deadline. Typically, when you see a team make a big splash, especially a contending team, you see this type of move, this type of addition at a trade deadline where a guy is on a losing team and that team's trying to clear up some salary cap and trying to get some picks. You see this kind of addition when a team's corner goes down, and so you want to make a big time signing. So you make a trade. You typically don't see this type of signing this late in a free agency. But I told you guys prior to the draft, entering April, exiting April, entering May, exiting May, that Alexander was going to be released, right? I had been following the news. And why would I be following something out in Green Bay? Because I wanted him in Baltimore. Now, I don't know how it turns out, okay? But I wanted him in Baltimore primarily for the reason of having that guy. You know what, anti-narrative, you're right. Let me jump into what you just said. Anti-narrative said that they heard Bashadi when um, he said he wanted to win now. And I think that created a level of urgency, right? And so they went out and got the best guy available. Again, man, I think this is the kind of move you trade for. But for the Baltimore Ravens to pick up a guy like Alexander with no draft compensation, only on a 1 year up to $6 million deal, man, it's a steal, right? It absolutely is. And so we're going to talk about his impact in another session that we do. But right now, man, I just want to just uh, kind of live in that excitement of having this type of addition to our team. I think that what it's going to do immediately, is going to raise the confidence of one person in particular. Who do you guys think that is? It's Zach Orr. Zach Orr already had, let's call it, a B+ defense. Well, Belanger, man, that don't sound too promising. Well, what I call it, a B+ defense, meaning the collection of talent on the roster, is because um, we needed an edge rusher and we added a potential superstar in Mike Green. But we have to wait and see. We have to wait and see what that looks like on the field, right? We drafted Malachi Starks, a long-term answer at free safety, but we have to wait and see what that looks like on the field. We have some guys in place at the interior linebacker position to play along beside Roquan. Trenton Simpson, we're still waiting on. Teddy Buchanan, we're going to have to wait and see what that looks like. And so we're still going to have to wait and see. Just based on the roster itself, I give it a B+, right? But we had a question on what type of contribution Awuzie was going to be. Is he or was he an upgrade over Brandon Stevens? Probably, yeah, especially Brandon Stevens from last year, who had some technique issues. Uh, but we understood coming in that Awuzie had some health concerns, just like we have some issues that Jaire Alexander has some health concerns, right? But so I thought after all the work that was done this off season, we were at a B+. And that may be all we need was B+ with the level of talent we have offensively. But now with a signing like this, right? Adding Jaire Alexander puts us up well above an A. I don't expect him to have to play 17 of 17 regular season games, right? My thought is this. If he can give us 14 or 15 games out of 21. Now, Belanger, your math ain't good. It's only 17 games in a season. True. But what I did was max out the potential number of games if we played in the wild card round, if we played in the divisional round, the AFC Championship, and the Super Bowl, right? So what I'm saying is if he can give us 14 or 15 of a full 21 games, which means we're in the Super Bowl and playing, that's all we need. Think about it. We got him for 1 year, $6 million, right? Up to $6 million. And so can he give us 13 regular season games and then 4 playoff games? I take that. And then on the backside of that, here we still have Awuzie, which deepens the depth at the cornerback position. Can Awuzie, also with similar health concerns, can he give us 14, 15 of 21 games? Which means one of those dudes should be available even if the other one has some injuries during the season. And then that leaves a little bit more room for a Bilal Coney to develop. I think he absolutely makes this team. That leaves room for a guy like a Longer Beam to develop, which I think he makes the team because I think he's going to be the future slot corner if his ability shows up in the NFL uniform, right? Nate Wiggins showed a lot of promise last year. I think that he's going to take another step. And then when you have vets who play a similar position as he, in Alexander, and then also in Awuzie, kind of being a mentor, kind of being a coach on the field to help him grow and develop, I think that spells disaster for other teams. I think that when they put him on the street, that being Alexander, I was hoping that the Baltimore Ravens would not miss this opportunity. Because sometimes, there's good players on the street and we're like, hey, man, they need to get him. He's still available. He's still available. And then they just let him walk to another team. And so for us to be able to make this signing says that, one, Bashadi was heard loud and clear, and then two, it's all in. I think that this has to be an all-in type of season, and that's why we're going to have that conversation on Saturday with the conversation about the addition of Alexander included. This is an all-in type season. This is not a season where the Baltimore Ravens can afford, that's both literal and figurative. They can afford literally to waste this season with this level of talent, and two, they can't afford monetarily to waste this season with this level of talent. I think it has to be like I gave the disclaimer way earlier. This off season, it's destination Santa Clara. That's where we have to end up. Again, I know health will be a concern, not just for Alexander, but for the team as a whole. We've already had some injuries this off season, and so I think that if we can maintain our health, and if we can get through this season with the discipline developed and established, with the consistency in place, I think we absolutely have a good chance to go get the chip. Because roster-wise, we filled almost every hole and or deepened every position. Again, still some contemplation about inside linebacker beside Roquan. Still some contemplation about what's going to happen at the left guard position. But I think that this says loud and clear that the Baltimore Ravens are all in. And so for you guys, here's a question. Is it Super Bowl or bust now? And was it Super Bowl or bust before Alexander was signed? I think so. I think before and after, before the signing, after the signing, it's Super Bowl or bust. I think that we cannot have any excuses this season. We cannot have any excuses. It can't be about injuries. It can't be about continuity. It can't be about learning a new system, because we have all of that behind us. It can't be about, and that's offensively and defensively. We have all of that systematic learning behind us. Now we got to go get the prize. Every metric that we needed to meet this offseason, again, with the exception of left guard, there's some questions, we met. I have to take my hat off to EDC. I think this is the best job of GMing I've seen him do, where we are not waiting to see who develops. We are actually putting people in places who are already developed. I think that when we think about the safety position, which has some questions of depth, I think that Jalen Armour-Davis could be the answer there behind Malachi Starks. I think the signing of Alexander absolutely frees up Jalen Armour-Davis to primarily go and practice and learn at safety. And so I think we see that happening. I think that's what's going to be the situation as we walk into the season. In fact, I've definitely heard some commentary where now Marlon Humphrey can go play safety. No, ma'am. No, sir. Marlon Humphrey needs to stay at the slot corner. He does not need to move to safety. Why? Because moving him to safety is a position change. He may be a easy to transform corner to safety, but this is not the season to make that move. It's not. It's not the season to make that move because there will be a learning curve no matter how skilled Marlon Humphrey is. And if he makes the transition from corner to safety, then who's going to play slot corner? Owuzie is not a slot corner. Alexander is not a slot corner. Could they play it? Yes, but they're better suited playing on the outside. Marlon Humphrey right now is one of the, if not the best slot corner in the league. Leave him there. Leave him there. He had his best season down in the slot last season. And so there's no point in mixing and matching at this point. If you're going to make a transition, Jalen Armour-Davis is there. If you are worried, if you're worried about the depth, and if you're worried about the safety depth, then by all means, there is some veterans still left out there. But as of right now, let's get through the mini camp. Let's get out of mini camp healthy. And then let's get our mindset. Because I think somebody correct me if I'm wrong. The training camp schedule came out yesterday, I believe. And I don't know when it starts, but I think it starts earlier. I know typically training camp, you remember back in the day, in ancient days, so to speak, training camp will start in August. Then it got moved kind of like the second week in August. Then it got moved to the first week in August. Then it got moved to the last week in July, somewhere in there. And seems like I heard some dates coming out like mid-July. And so hopefully we can get out of mini camp healthy and we can get to training camp. We can get to training camp healthy, ready to go. And if training camp is starting in July, man, think about the amount of time we have to learn. Because if I'm remembering correctly, season basically starts September 8th or 9th. So if training camp is starting mid-July, that's about 6 or 7 weeks of just learning. That's plenty of rest time for vets. That's a lot of vet days off, man. So health, man, should be in order. So, man, I'm super, super excited about the potential of this team. Again, we don't have any excuses. I think I saw Jeremiah say that he's not worried about anything Ravens related, nor am I. Again, left guard, linebacker, safety depth, they're not concerns of mine. I don't think it's as critical as it has been in years past. Again, I think there's plenty of options and there's plenty of time to see who and what shakes out. Even at left guard, right? There's Dellinger, who was drafted in the 7th round. And when you read his profile, not just his measurable 6'5" and 6'5", 6'5", 320 pounds, 325 pounds. He could be an option. And so the thing is, we have some options, man, at every position. Linebacker, there's going to be some competition. Safety, there's going to be some competition. Cornerback, there's going to be some competition. And so, man, I just think that even with the areas that there could be a little bit of vulnerability with depth, I think competition will develop the depth and we'll see things come to pass when the season actually gets here, man. So I'm super, super excited. And then there's going to be some guys cut from other teams, right? There's going to be some good talent cut from other teams at some point, just like ours, where we could pick up in those positions that may seem a little bit vulnerable based on depth, man. So the Baltimore Ravens, man, I believe are in it to win it. I think this is EDC, Lamar Jackson, Jaire Alexander, Ronnie Stanley, D-Hop, pushing the chips to the middle of the table. I named those guys specifically because they are vets who still need rings, and the leadership of this team. Yeah. Are you talking about the Hoss? Are you talking about Dellinger? Uh, um, Jeremiah? You talking about Dellinger hanging with Jalen Carter? Is that what you're speaking of? Um, but this is pushing your chips all in the table. This is that. This is an all in move. And I'm finally glad to see us have the guts. Drop the G at an N. You guys will catch it. Uh, I'm glad to see that we had it to push our chips into the table. And man, think about the coolness of this, right? Uh, think about how cool this is, right? When you think about being able to pick up Alexander for 6 million, it doesn't matter if we resign him next year or not. It doesn't, because we didn't lose anything. We didn't lose no draft capital picking him up. We didn't make a trade for him. We just picked him up off the street. So that leaves $12 million. I'm not even talking about extensions, but that leaves $12 million on the books for us to do some other things if need be. And so, man, I am super, super excited, man, about what is to come. Um, Man, I'm gonna do something probably tomorrow. If you guys are interested, I'm gonna jump in here live, and we're gonna talk about um, the games that we're gonna have this season, where Jair Alexander could be super, super impactful. And so, man, that's gonna be a good conversation, man. So, man, that's what I got for you guys today. Let me get off here and go to work for tomorrow's live, but also let me get off here and go to work for real. Let me get up here and go to work for real. So listen, man, I appreciate you guys, man, for checking us out, man. Do me a favor on the way out the door, hit like, hit subscribe. I will take this video and cut it down to make the shorter version. Um, so be looking for that, be looking for that shorter version of that video. And Jeremiah, you are right. He did make or get he will get a compensatory pick from Brandon Stevens, and that money then did become Hopkins and Alexander. And like I said, man, this absolutely is my favorite EDC GM and job of his era. And you know what that also does? Let me drop you a kind of a prophetic nugget. That means, once you catch this, that means anything's on the table at the trade deadline. If we're all in now, then we're going to be exponentially more all in at the trade deadline. So that's exciting as well, man. Appreciate you guys. I'm your guy Boulanger. This is the GM, and we're out.